Hello everybody, you are on a Dr. Y channel and I am Dr. Armen, Professor Armen Astvatsatryan from Yerevan, Armenia, and let's go. We continue to talk about your questions of the big exams, and today's question all about diverticular disease, so gastroenterology questions. So take your pens and papers, of course, to make the notes. Okay, let's go. Diverticular disease. So if you find a question like this, we understand that we're asking about the problem of diverticulosis and diverticulitis. So what is diverticular? Diverticular are sacral mucosal pouches that protrude from a tubular structure. True diverticular of the gastrointestinal tract contain all layers of the gastrointestinal walls. Esophageal diverticula, including Zenker diverticula and Meckel diverticula, are true diverticula. False or pseudo-diverticula are mucosal and submucosal protrusions through the muscular wall of the bowel. Colon diverticula are pseudo-diverticula. A single pouch is called a diverticulum, and more than two pouches are called diverticula. These terms are occasionally used incorrectly. Diverticulosis is the presence of the one or more diverticula. Okay, so diverticular disease is characterized as a symptomatic diverticulosis. Diverticulitis is an inflammation with or without infection of a diverticulum. And actually we have a diverticulosis classification. Diverticulosis is a condition characterized by the presence of small, bulging pouches, diverticula, in the walls of the digestive tract. Most commonly in the large intestine, colon. Diverticulosis can be classified based on several factors, including the location of the diverticula, the severity of the condition, and the presence or absence of complication. So we've got location-based classification. Colonic diverticulosis, diverticular are present as by name in the colon, which is the most common location for diverticula to form. Colonic diverticulosis can further be classified based on the segment of the colon affected, such as sigmoid diverticulosis, diverticular in the sigmoid or sigmoid colon, left side diverticulosis, diverticular in the descending colon, sigmoid colon, or both. Right-sided diverticulosis, diverticular in descending colon, or transverse colon, or total chronic diverticulosis, diverticular throughout the entire colon. Okay, of course, most correct to pronounce sigmoid colon, not sigmoid colon. No, well, okay, we understand. So, severity-based classification, mild diverticulosis, few diverticular, more correct. So, mild diverticulosis, few diverticula are present, and the condition is generally asymptomatic. Moderate diverticulosis, multiple diverticula are present, and symptoms may occur occasionally. Severe diverticulosis, numerous diverticula are present, and symptoms are frequent and severe, often leading to complications. Complications-based classification. Okay, so uncomplicated diverticulosis. Diverticula are present, but there are no associated complications or symptoms. Complicated diverticulosis. Diverticula are present and complications have arisen, such as diverticulitis, inflammation or infection of the diverticula, diverticular bleeding from the diverticula, or diverticular abscess, collection of the pus in the diverticula. It's important to note that diverticulosis and diverticulitis are related conditions, but they are not the same. Diverticulosis refers to the presence of diverticula, whereas diverticulitis refers to inflammation or infection of diverticula. Actually, my friends, out of the topic, inflammation presents everywhere, in every pathologic condition. But in the situation of diverticulitis, that's the nomen, diverticulitis, we understand that the inflammation plays the first role. Whereas in diverticulosis, it's not the first, it doesn't play the first role. So chronic diverticulitis, chronic diverticulosis, is the presence of one or more diverticula in the colon. Most diverticula are asymptomatic, but some become inflamed or bleed. Diagnosis by colonoscopy, capsule endoscopy, barium minima, computed tomography, MRI. Asymptomatic diverticulosis requires no treatment. When symptoms develop, treatment varies on clinical manifestations. Okay, so about diagnosis. Diagnosis of chronic diverticulosis, usually colonoscopy or computed tomography. So we have to visualize the problem. Imaging techniques. Asymptomatic diverticula are usually found incidentally during colonoscopy. Capsule endoscopy, capsule endoscopy, barium minima, computed tomography or MRI. Lower gastrointestinal bleeding due to the diverticulosis is suspected when painless rectal bleeding develops, particularly in an older patient or in a patient who has a history of diverticular disease. Evaluation of lower gastrointestinal bleeding typically includes colonoscopy, which can be done after rapid colonic preparation. 4 to 6 liters of polyethylene glycol solution delivered orally, ideally via nasogastric tube, and given over 3 to 4 hours until the rectal effluent is cleared of blood and stool. If the source cannot be seen with colonoscopy and ongoing bleeding is sufficient rapid, that is more than 0.5 to 1 milliliter a minute, computed tomography, angiography, or radionuclide imaging may localize the source. No, I don't think they will ask you in this manner the questions, but you understand. So colonic diverticulosis differential diagnosis. It's important to consider the other conditions that may present with similar symptoms or finding as colonic diverticulosis. Here's some potential differential diagnosis to consider. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. IBS is a common functional gastrointestinal disorder that can be present with symptomatic similar to colonic diverticulosis, such as abdominal pain, changes in bowel habits, and bloating. However, like diverticulosis, irritable bowel syndrome doesn't involve the presence of the presence of diverticula in the colon, and the symptoms are typically chronic and recurrent. Inflammatory bowel disease, IBD. Conditions such as Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, which are types of inflammatory bowel disease, can present with similar symptoms as colonic diverticulosis, including abdominal pain, diarrhea, and rectal bleeding. Distinguishing between IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, and diverticulosis may require further imaging techniques, endoscopic evaluation, and consideration of other clinical features. Gastrointestinal malignancy, colorectal cancer, or other gastrointestinal malignancies can present when the symptoms similar to colonic diverticulosis, such as abdominal pain, changes in the bowel habits, and rectal bleeding. A thorough evaluation, including imaging studies and possible colonoscopy with biopsy, may be needed to rule out malignancies. That is oncology. Other gastrointestinal conditions such as ischemic colitis, inflammation of the colon due to reduced blood supply, infections, colitis, inflammation of the colon due to infection, and diverticular bleeding, bleeding from the diverticula can also present with similar symptoms as colonic diverticulosis. Clinical evaluation, imaging studies, and appropriate laboratory tests may be needed to differentiate between these conditions. Non-gastrointestinal conditions. Conditions such as urinary tract infection, pelvic inflammatory disease, ovarian cysts, and musculoskeletal conditions can sometimes present with abdominal pain or discomfort that may be similar to diverticulosis. A comprehensive evaluation, including history, physical examination, and appropriate diagnostic tests, may be needed to identify the underlying cause. And treatment, of course. So, the treatment of colonic diverticulosis. Once again, no treatment for asymptomatic diverticulosis. Management of specific symptoms. Diverticular bleeding treated as a lower gastrointestinal bleed. Colonic diverticulitis, which refers to the presence of diverticular, small pouches or sacs, in the colon, usually doesn't require specific treatment unless complications arise. Treatment strategies for colonic diverticulosis are aimed at managing symptoms, preventing complications, and promoting overall colon health. So, some common treatment approaches. Lifestyle modifications, of course, first of all. Lifestyle changes can help manage symptoms and prevent complications of colonic diverticulosis. This may include high fiber diet. Eating a diet rich in fiber can help soften stool and promote regular bowel movements, reducing the risk of diverticula becoming impact and inflamed. Foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, vegetables, are good sources, no, herbs, are good sources of dietary fiber. Adequate hydration. Drinking plenty of water and fluids can help maintain bowel regularity and prevent constipation. Regular exercise, regular physical activity can promote bowel motility and overall colon health. Avoiding straining during bowel movements. Straining during bowel movements can increase pressure in the colon and potentially worsen diverticulosis. Yes. Avoid constipation using proper toilet techniques. For example, not straining. Avoiding prolonged sitting with your mobile gadgets, guys, can help prevent symptoms and complications. Lifestyle modifications, yes, medications. Medications may be used to manage symptoms and prevent complications of colonic diverticulosis, such as over-the-counter stool softeners or fiber supplements. This can help stool and promote regular bowel movements. Pain relievers, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and NSAIDs or other pain relievers may be used to manage mild pain associated with diverticulosis. Sometimes antibiotics may be prescribed in case of diverticulitis, which is a complication of diverticulosis that involves inflammation or infection of diverticula. Monitoring and surveillance, no follow-up, checkup, Regular monitoring and surveillance may be recommended for patients with colonic diverticulosis, especially if there are risk factors or a history of complications. This may involve periodic imaging studies such as colonoscopy or CT, computer tomography scans, to assess the status of diverticula and rule out any complications. Surgical intervention, in rare cases, surgical intervention may be needed for colonic diverticulosis, particularly if complications such as recurrent diverticulitis, abscesses, fistulas, or bleeding occur. Surgical options may include removal of the affected portion of the colon resection or other surgical procedures, depending on the severity and location of the diverticulosis. Okay, largely enough for today for diverticula. So, my friends, don't forget to follow, subscribe our channel, re-listening this video several times, like other videos as also, to get the information under your skin. See you in another lectures. God bless you and bye bye.